Hi, John Chapin with your latest sales tip. And today I'm going to talk about how to get past the sales objection, we're going to wait. And this also comes as we're going to hold off for now, we've decided not to do anything right now, and similar. So when you get this objection, it's either a no money objection, I'm waiting for something to change, or I'm waiting to see what happens with something objection, or it's a nice way of saying no and brushing you off. So with this objection, you need more details. So when they say we're going to wait, the very first thing you're going to say is, okay, why? Now they'll come back with either a money objection, like, well, we're waiting for a tax refund, or we spent our budget this year, or they'll tell you what they're waiting for to happen or change. So around in an election year, for example, it's common to hear, we're waiting to see what happens with the election. Or as I'm shooting this right now, I'm probably going to hear, we're waiting to see what happens with interest rates, or we think there's going to be correction in prices and prices will be coming down. Another way this objection comes at you is we're waiting until next year, we're waiting 6 months, or we're waiting till the spring or some other season or whatever it is. So in these cases, specifically, what will be different later is what you want to find out. So if they say they're waiting for the first of the year, you're going to say, okay, what will be different the first of the year? And again, this will come down to money, or they think something will happen or change. Or again, it's just a way of nicely saying no to you. So they'll either tell you how their money situation will be different, such as, well, we already spent this year's budget, or, well, we'll have more money to spend on this next year. Or they'll tell you what will be different, such as, well, we're working on this major project right now and it'll be over at the end of the year. Or if it's just a nice way to say no and get rid of you, they won't have a specific answer. They'll say, yeah, you know what, we just have a lot going on. Call me the first of the year. And by the way, if you get that last one, push for an answer. Say, yeah, I get it. What specifically do you have going on that won't be going on next year? If you get nothing, say, look, Joe, a lot of times people tell me they're waiting until the first of the year because they just want to get rid of me. They don't want to tell me no. Is that the case, or can you give me a few specific reasons why I should call you back after the first of the year? All that said, now you need to get some specifics behind their reasons for holding off. So again, if they say they're waiting for a tax refund, or they'll have more money, or whatever it is, again, you have a money objection. So you'll ask questions like, well, if we can make your first payment due after the first of the year, does that solve your problem? Or, okay, is there a specific monthly investment number that you don't want to exceed? If this is the case, look for some ways to creatively get to that number. You also want to isolate this objection. So once they give you a specific answer, such as, we already spent our budget for the year, you're going to say, Joe, so if you had the available funds in your budget, would you be moving forward right now? If it's a yes, you have a spent the budget objection. If it's a no, you have to ask, okay, well, other than budget, what else is preventing you from moving forward? Find the other objections. Once you isolate the objection or objections, you've got to make sure those are the real roadblocks. For example, let's say they said they're waiting for interest rates to come down. You'll first isolate, okay, other than the interest rate, is there anything else that's stopping you from moving forward right now? If they say no, just the interest rate, you want to ask, okay, so what rate do we need to be at for you to move forward? Let's say they say 2%. To find out if it's the real roadblock, ask, okay, so if I can get 2%, we've got a deal? Now, some people will test you a little and they'll say, wait, are you saying you can get me 2%? Whether you can or you can't, to determine if that's the real objection, you're going to say, well, look, assuming I can, are you ready to move ahead? And be quiet and wait for an answer. If they say yes, if you can get them to 2%, great. If you can't, say, okay, not sure I can get you to 2%. Is there any wiggle room in there at all? You can also ask if alternative solutions work. For example, you might say, okay, well, I'm not sure I can get you to 2%, but how about if I can get your monthly investment down? Is there a monthly number you'd be comfortable with? Another way to ask that is, okay, well, does the interest rate have to be that low, or is there a monthly number you're trying not to exceed? Also, when you get we're waiting for interest rates to go down or prices to go down, you want them to explain what they think is going to happen and why. And the why is important because unless it's a true objection, most people won't be able to answer the why question. They'll be jumping all over the place. So if they said they're waiting because they think rates or prices are going down, first ask why they think rates or prices will go down. If they get through that, ask them what they're going to do if they're wrong. Because if it's a stall, they won't be able to answer either of those questions. Assuming though it's a true objection, they decide they're going to wait, you want to give them some possible reasons why they might move forward now anyway. You might say, Joe, if you're right and rates go down, great. If you're wrong and they go up, you're stuck. Here's the thing. If you lock in a rate now and rates go down, you can always refinance. If you wait and they go up, you have no option. You're in at the higher rate. You can also ask if they think prices will go down. Joe, if you wait and you're right and prices go down, demand will go up. You probably won't be the first in line for the house or whatever it is at that lower price. So you might not get what you want. Is it more important to get what you want or risk missing out because you're hoping to save a few dollars? As one last resort, if nothing else is working, one really good question here is, are there any conditions under which you've moved forward right now? Once they answer yes, say, okay, so if I can meet those conditions, you're ready to move forward, and then come as close to those conditions as you can and close. You can also use what I call the contrarian view close. When you get an objection about the state of the economy, presidential election, market fluctuation, interest rates, or anything from the outside where someone's waiting for something to happen. Let's say it was a stock. In that case, you say something like, Joe, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather buy the stock after everyone else has bought, when it's at its high, or before everyone when it's low and ready to take off? Wait for an answer. In the housing market, you might say, would you rather get into the housing market before everyone else, when prices are low and ready to take off, or afterwards when the house is already doubled in value? Wait for an answer. Joe, it's a fact that the richest people in the world have a contrarian view. In other words, they buy when everyone else is selling and they sell when everyone else is buying. When everyone else is waiting and watching, they're taking action and moving. Does that make sense, Joe? Do you still want to wait? Because if you wait, like the rest of the crowd, history has shown, you're probably going to be much worse off. Why don't we lock this in? Because if things move in the future, again, if price goes up or rates go down, whatever it is, you have options and you can adjust. If they go up and you haven't done anything, you're stuck. Make sense? And close. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video.